CCTV Camera World is proud to provide support for products purchased from our website. If you purchased your product from another vendor, please contact the vendor you purchased from for further assistance.
In this video, I'm going to show you how to live view your cameras from your NVR, DVR, or if you just have IP cameras from Security Cameras Inc. I'm using the SCI View software. I already have it open. If you don't have it open, of course, you're going to want to go to your desktop and double click the SCI View icon to open the software, and it may ask you to log in. But once you've done that, you should be on your grid screen here. And we can see under the root group, I have my Office NVR added. And if I click the other caret icon, then I can see I have 6 cameras added to my 16 channel NVR. So whatever cameras you have added and are working will show in a green icon here on the left hand side. And whatever ones are disconnected or not working will show in gray. So if I wanted to pull in all of the channels from my NVR, I would simply right click my NVR and then click Open All Channels. So that's going to bring in all 6 cameras into a 6 camera grid view. And I can also switch them between mainstream and substream. I can either do that by right clicking on the NVR and setting all the channels to mainstream, or I can right click and set on a individual channel and change it from mainstream to substream. So for channel 1, I'm going to set it to mainstream, and you'll see that it did get quite clearer when I set it to the mainstream. So the mainstream is the full resolution that your camera is live viewing and recording from your system. But keep in mind that it will use more data if you are remote. So if you're on Wi-Fi remotely in a hotel and your software is lagging, then you will want to come over here, right click, and make sure that you click Set Substream. It's going to use overall less data for the lower resolution. So next, this brings me into the grid screen options. Like I mentioned, since I have 6 cameras, the software automatically, when I right-clicked and opened all the channels, set it to a 6 camera grid view. So if I come down here to the grid view option, it's called Layout, and I can see the various grid view options ranging from 1 camera all the way to 128 cameras. So I could select the appropriate view for my system and then put the cameras in the grid as I see fit. So you can click and drag, so I'm clicking and dragging these cameras, and I can move them into the various grids that I have available on my software. Next would be the full screen option on the right hand side here. So if I click full screen, it's going to bring me into full screen. To exit this, I need to either press the escape key on my keyboard, or I can right click and click quit full screen button. So if I click that, it's going to get me out of the full screen, which leads me into the next important thing that you want to do. So at the top right hand side of the software, there is a little monitor icon. So you're going to want to click on that and then make sure that you have the highest resolution selected for the software. What this is going to do is attempt to make the software better fit your monitor and give you an overall better view of your camera. So make sure you come up here to the monitor icon and click the resolution for your monitor that you're viewing from your computer. The options that are available will depend on your computer itself and the monitor you have connected to your computer. Next is the favorite views option. So this is the save view button, but first you're going to want to make sure you go to the favorite view tab at the top left hand side, and then make sure you select your group. Again, my group is called root. That is the default group in the software. So now if I want to arrange these cameras in a certain grid way, and I wanted to pull this grid up when I open the software by clicking on my favorite view, I would need to first arrange my cameras as I did, and then click the Save View button. It's going to allow me to name my favorite view, in which case I'm just going to name it Fave, short for favorite, and then View. So I've named it. I'm going to click OK, and now it will appear, like I mentioned, in this tab on the left-hand side. So if I right-click and click Stop Preview on this camera, or click the Stop button to stop all channels at the bottom left-hand side, I can double-click on the favorite view, and it's going to bring all of those channels back in the way that I had them configured when I saved my options. So that's how you can save favorite views. This leads me to the next cool option that's available as far as cruising, which means it will tour or cruise between the various views that you have on your system. So to get there, you need to go to the home page first, and then come down to under config and click the cruise setting. This is going to open a tab which allows you to set up a cruise or tour that you want the software to go between. So I'll quickly show you how to make tasks. So if you click the plus button under strategy, as I did, it will bring up a task window. You can name it. I'm going to name mine task 1. And then you can give it a time. So this is the amount of time that it will stay on this view before it goes to the next task. Of course, you're going to want to open up your channels, or your group, and then your NVR, and add them. So I'm adding channel 1 and 2 to my first task. I'm going to click save. I'm going to open up another task. You can modify the grid screen up here at the top right hand side. If you want to save a different view than a 4-channel view, then you could do that. So this is task 2. Again, I'm just going to give it around a 5-second timer. And then this time I'm going to pull in channels 3 and 4. So I'm going to click save. So now I have task 1 and task 2. Task 1 is channels 1 and 2. Task 2 is channels 3 and 4. If I click back on the main view tab and then go to strategy 0, so that was the strategy with those 2 tasks, and then I can click the cruise button. So here we have channels 1 and 2, and in about 5 seconds it will change to channels 3 and 4. And it did. So now to stop the cruise, I need to come down here and stop the cruise by clicking the icon once more. I'm going to bring in my favorite view again by double clicking on favorite view. Next would be if you wanted to actually have multiple windows, you could do so. So first I'm going to unmaximize my software, and then click on the main view button. There's a plus button next to main view. And that's going to open up a new grid screen. So what I can do is, much like a web browser, a modern web browser, I can click on this tab and drag it out and create a new window. This is a multi-window grid system that the SCI View software allows you to utilize, and you can drag whatever number of cameras you want. So this is very useful if you have multiple monitors and you want to have 2 different grids on both monitors, or you have a security staff that you want to have monitor those views, then you could do so with those multiple views. I'm going to close out of this view 2. This leads me to the playback functions that are available on the cameras themselves. So if you either hover over a camera or you right click on a camera, you'll see the various options that are available to you. So first, on the bottom of the camera is going to be the snapshot or screenshot option. So if you're live viewing your camera and you want to save a snapshot of an event, then you would just click on the screenshot button. You'll notice at the bottom right hand side it does show where this file was saved, and I can click right on that to be taken to the folder where that file is. So I can click on that. It's going to open it up, and here I can see the snapshot or screenshot that I took when I clicked the button. I could copy this to a thumb drive or send it via email if I wanted to share it with somebody. So the same is true if you close out of this window and then you click on the record. So let's say there's an event happening in front of this camera that I want to record. Again, keep in mind, this is not recording to your NVR, although your NVR is probably recording the event. This is actually recording directly to the hard drive on your computer to make it easy for you to share it with people. So I'm going to click on it. It's going to start recording. If I click on it again, it's going to stop recording. And once more, I can click on this link to be taken to the video files I have saved on my hard drive. Like I mentioned, you can save these files on a thumb drive or share them with others. So closing back out of this window, there is the digital zoom option. So if I click on this, what this is doing is a digital zoom. So it's actually blowing up the pixels and trying to get a better view of that small area that I selected. Now it's worth noting that that is the substream view, so everything is a little bit more pixelated. So if I right click on this camera and click set mainstream, and then I use digital zoom again by clicking on the icon and clicking it again, and then zooming in, things are more clear. So it is very important. If you want to utilize digital zoom, you should switch that channel to the mainstream view. Next is the customize tag. So this has to do with the playback feature, or if you just want to tag an area where you're live viewing and go back to it at a later date, then you could click the tag icon and then create a custom tag. So let's call it an event. And what this is going to do is actually tag this timestamp for playback on your NVR as well for you to take a look back at another date. So you can name it whatever you like and then click save. So next is the playback icon. So if I wanted to pull up playback from this channel, which I will show in the next video on playback, I could click right here. But like I mentioned, I will show the deeper dive into the playback function in the playback video. So before I end, there are some alarm functions that are available through the software as well. And those are available either by clicking the manual alarm icon. So this is actually the alarm output from your NVR. So if you wanted to have a siren sound off, or you wanted to manually adjust that siren, then you could do so by clicking this button and then clicking on the toggle. You should hear a snap from your NVR if you're next to it, in which case it's sending voltage out from the rear of your NVR to whatever alarm output you have configured. You click it again, you'll hear a small snap again, and that's actually turning that voltage off. So you close back out of this menu, and then at the bottom left-hand side, there is the alarm input, or even your smart detection events, which are also accessible by clicking this if you want to see your smart alerts as they happen. I'm going to close back out of there, or you can click on the alarm button again down here, and it's going to show you. So for example, it shows me all the motion detection events that have happened in my cameras, and you can either bring this into a new tab by clicking the maximize button, or you minimize it back to the bottom. You can hide it or pin it to keep it up. So it depends on how you want to customize the way that you want to view your cameras and view the events that are happening. So once again, through the grid views or bringing up this little alarm interface. If you don't want it to be here, just click the down arrows and hide it. Hopefully this video gives you a comprehensive look at live viewing your cameras using the SCI View software. Thank you for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.